Marking 60 years as an integrated fighting force. Welcome to Army Newswatch. I'm Specialist Ashley Torres. We'll have that story and more, but first, here's a look at what's going on around the Army. Disabled veterans from around the country will compete in the largest wheelchair sports event in the world. More than 500 athletes will participate in the multi-sports program in events like hand cycling, softball, and track and field. Yeah. Many of the military vets are in wheelchairs because of spinal cord injuries, amputations, or neurological problems. While the Games have produced a number of national and world-class champions, organizers hope the newly disabled veterans will improve their skills and meet other wheelchair athletes. Hundreds walked in memory of fallen North Dakota soldiers. Families, soldiers, and veterans took steps to honor the sacrifice of the state's fallen heroes with a 12-mile memorial road march. The 188th Air Defense Artillery coordinated the event to commemorate the deaths of 4 Guard troops in Afghanistan.
A 12-mile road march is an Army school standard, whether it be air assault, officer candidate school, or training for the right to be an elite Army Ranger. All training is epitomized by the 12-mile road march. A road march also represents the path we, as soldiers, take during our military careers, a journey filled with emotional highs and lows, times of isolation and times of camaraderie, victories and defeats. But through it all, a soldier continues to put one foot in front of another in order to reach their own personal goals.
Other communities around the country are also finding ways to honor fallen service members. In Irvine, California, residents put up a temporary memorial each year to remember those who have made the ultimate sacrifice. From just before Memorial Day to right after Independence Day, members of the community meet every night at the Northwood Community Park for a ceremony of remembrance and to light candles.
My wife and I come almost every night, and it's important to us because this is how we give back to people who give to us, and it's really important that we do that.
I think it's very important because if we forget them, it just seems like it's all for nothing, for naught.
Residents are working to set up a permanent memorial to fallen service members. It's the largest child development center in the Defense Department. A new child development center at Fort Myer, Virginia opened its doors to the military children in the nation's capital, and it has plenty of play space for the kids.
It's 50,000 square feet with 3 wings, 28 rooms, 3 playgrounds, and a multi-purpose room. The center has space for 438 children. Woo! That's a lot of kids.
Defense Department officials say this is the first of many new CDCs across the country. Coming soon to theaters this fall, a chemical detection robot. Debuting in Iraq and Afghanistan, the 95th Chemical Company robot can enter potentially contaminated areas so soldiers don't need to risk their lives. The former ordnance robot was headed to the junk pile, but it was salvaged and revamped into the Chemical, Biological, Radiological, and Nuclear Unmanned Ground Vehicle, or CUGV. It can scope out an area for up to 4 hours, compared to a protective suited soldier who only has 45 minutes of breathing time. Well, it's time to give a big Army hood to the stations that bring Army Newswatch to you, and especially to Allen City TV, Channel 16 in Allen City, Texas, and Frankfort Community TV, Cable 10 serving Franklin County, Kentucky. Thanks for watching. Don't go away. When you're deployed, what do you do to make the days go by faster? We'll show you one unit's idea of a good time, plus healing the mind and body on the green. Stick around and we'll be right back.
We're a diverse Army in a diverse world.
We figure out the best way to do it by staying open-minded, and we do it together.
We all, fighting the same fight.
We have to be willing to accept other people for who they are, regardless of their beliefs or their upbringing.
You can work with every culture, you can work with every nationality, and you can work as one.
The Soldier's Creed.
I am an American soldier.
I am an American soldier.
I'm a warrior and a member of a team.
I serve the people of the United States and live the Army values. I will always place the mission first.
I will always place the mission first.
I will never accept defeat.
I will never quit.
I will never quit.
I will never quit.
I'll never leave a fallen comrade.
I am disciplined.
Physically and mentally tough. Trained and proficient in my warrior task and drills.
I always maintain my arms, my equipment, and myself.
I am an expert and I am a professional.
I stand ready to deploy,
Engage and destroy the enemies of the United States of America in close combat.
I am a guardian of freedom and the American way of life.
I am an American soldier.
My main don't open wide. If my main don't open wide.
Welcome back. The Army's best will gather at Fort Lee, Virginia in September to fight for the title of Soldier of the Year. Right now, regions host their own contest to decide which soldiers will represent them. James Williams takes a look at what soldiers must accomplish if they want to be the best of the best.
Shooters, take your first 10-round magazine, lock and load.
The Army is designed for competition. I mean, it's a competitive environment.
And fire!
Anything to do with weapons is my favorite.
I have not shot on a pop-up target in years.
I kind of joined the Army to play with all this fun toys is the way I look at it.
I think the word is a meritocracy.
Down.
You get on top by being better at what you do.
He's fired. I'm engaging.
It's based on your individual abilities.
This morning in the WTD, the Warrior Task and Drills, I actually learned a lot. Some map reading techniques.
Do you know what that's called?
Range cards, stuff like that.
Oh, shoot.
All the stuff is hands-on. You have to be able to apply the knowledge.
Testing. We do sergeant's time now and then, but we don't really get a chance to experience all the weapons and actually take them apart, put them together, all that stuff that we had to do here. So kind of learning a lot of it for the first time being out here.
All right, let's do it.
We ready?
Move.
We want them to go back and say, hey, I was challenged. It wasn't a joke.
Hey, Mom.
They know that they've come through here, that they've gotten some tough, realistic training.
Halt where you are. Stay. Do not come any closer.
Keep your leg straight, son. I'm checking for bleeding. He's got bleeding on his abdomen.
Kind of working on learning all the 20-level skills, so I thought it was challenging.
Least favorite, I would have to say the board. I don't like talking in front of people, and questions get me nervous. So.
Is that guy not down?
Everyone really appreciates the hard work and effort that they put into coming out here. Some of these guys and gals have trained for 6 months or a year to come to this competition.
I just look at it as good practice for next year. Because, I mean, if I don't win this year, there's always next year, right? So I'm going to be back.
These 6 soldiers have been selected by their commands to represent the National Capital Region in the Soldier of the Year competition in September at Fort Lee, Virginia. Get more information at ARMY.MIL. The end state of a soldier's training is to be the best that he or she can be. The top 33 soldiers of the Army Reserve roughed it out to claim the coveted title of Best Warrior. For a couple soldiers, it turned out to be more than a competition. Highly motivated, highly dedicated, high-speed soldiers.
Oh, yeah, baby.
With one common goal, to become the Army Reserve Best Warrior. So what's the best part?
Meeting old friends. I kept looking at Sergeant Gutierrez here, and I was like, I know this guy.
Yeah, we high-fived each other.
Sergeant First Class Matthew Lejean and Sergeant Francisco Gutierrez met years ago. They lost touch, and then...
As soon as we saw each other, it was like, what's going on? And everything just, we just started...
Clicking, and everything fell into place, and...
It sounded so good, fell into place.
There you go.
He became my battle buddy, again.
I think having a familiar face, being able to have a little bit of camaraderie, you know someone so you can open up more, kind of relax, have fun. And that's what it turned into. This past 2 weeks was actually a lot of fun just because we knew each other already and we could kind of start joking around, and it was still kind of fun to have fun while we were here.
Breathing? Gutierrez took the title for the Army Reserve Best NCO of the Year. Service members deployed to the desert come up with different ways to make the days go by faster. For one unit in Baghdad's international zone, it turned out to be the 300 challenge. Airman First Class Shaylin Jordan explains.
The 300 challenge isn't just a physical challenge. It's also mental, especially when it comes to a competition within a unit. 3 warrant officers from the 442 Field Artillery Unit challenged 3 of their officers to the 300 challenge after one of the officers participated in the challenge a couple months ago.
Basically, it's a competition of 300 repetitions of pull-ups, box jumps, push-ups, deadlifts, kettlebell thrusts, washers, and then some more push-ups at the end. 50 repetitions of every exercise.
A lot of training took place to get the competitors in shape for the competition.
Most of the workouts we did were all short duration, basically based on the physical test we just did. No more than 30 minutes, and it's a full body exercise, which is It's a great stress relief from the hours we're working over here.
Although one team came out on top of the other, both teams worked hard for the challenge and can go back to work with their heads held high, knowing that they gave it their all. Airman First Class Shaylin Jordan, Baghdad, Iraq.
While today's Army celebrates the diversity of its force, that was not the case more than 6 decades ago. This year marks the 60th anniversary of a period of great transition for the military, where people became recognized for the uniform they wore and not the color of their skin. Jeannie Ryan joins us today to tell us more about the integration of the armed forces.
Ashley, at the height of World War II, America and the citizens who make up her army saw 2 distinct colors, black and white. Equality was a dream. Then, in July 1948, President Harry Truman signed an executive order for the equality of treatment and opportunity in the armed services. But it wasn't until September 1954 that the Army abolished the last all-black unit. We had the chance to meet up with a former soldier turned airman and a retired Navy petty officer who saw those clear lines of division and lived through the integration.
Chuck Jones shoots 9 holes of golf every morning. More than 60 years ago, sinking a putt on links like these would have been unthinkable. In the 1940s, life for Jones was full of harsh realities.
I had lived segregated in a segregated community, and at that time they told us, stay in your place.
At age 18, Jones was drafted into a segregated army.
We deployed, we went up in a black unit, stayed in a black unit.
Navy vet Frank Nelson, who also served during World War II, saw the division clearly during his time aboard the USS Foote.
We had 4 black people and they ate and slept in a special place.
Despite the marked differences, there were times the lines were blurred.
Our best support were white soldiers. They told them when they would not let us sell us a ticket at the train station, places like that, the white soldiers are the only ones stood up and say, if they can't go in, sit down, buy a ticket, we don't want to go in there.
They used to ask us to write letters to their sweethearts and their mother back home and that sort of thing, you know. We had a good relationship with them.
When the integration came in 1948, Jones, who had left the Army, enlisted in the Air Force.
I got ranked. I was treated the same, and our officers were black as well as white.
As the armed forces mark 60 years of integration, veterans remember how they were recognized for their uniform, not their race, long before the rest of the country followed suit. Jeannie Ryan, Washington.
It's a physical and emotional shock to wake up in the hospital room missing a limb or feeling the effects of a brain injury. The recovery is intense to say the least. That's when organizations like the Wounded Warrior Disabled Sports Project step in to help heal a soldier's mind and spirit. At an Arlington golf course, Dave Anarino hopped on a cart and spoke with a few survivors as they played the game the best they could.
Especially as you get older, some of the higher impact sports you're not going to be able to do.
It really has helped me with endurance, strength, coordination and stuff like that. So golfing, I mean, obviously is a big part of my therapy.
Oh, it's the 3rd time something's been crawling on my feet. Feels like something's crawling on my feet.
Oh, well done. Maybe in the trees, though. If I get hit, Brenda says, just finish me off.
What the Wounded Warrior Disabled Sports Project does is provide sports programs for the severely wounded guys and gals coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan.
That's what I want, baby! That's the way to go!
They can get out there, they can achieve, that gets them out of their hospital and gets them involved in sports and activity so they realize that they can lead an active life even though they've been hit and they've lost something.
There you go. That's the shot we were looking for.
And see, when it's even just a little slope, finding the right angle and kind of getting your bad leg locked is a little harder. Short but straight.
They've been active before, now they want to be active again. They want to prove to themselves that they can't be held back, and sports helps them do that.
Oh, I've got legs. I'm just not allowed to wear them full time yet. I'm almost down to just walking with one cane. and I've been on them for 12 days. Wow. So my therapist said I'm doing really well, but I'm just doing what I did.
You're interacting with folks that appreciate what you've done, but also just let you get back into normal life.
Oh, this is a fun game, isn't it?
Nice shot. All right.
Works for me. Just gotta take what you get and move on. Move forward and don't ever stop, because you can't stop.
Still to come, soldiers in Pennsylvania share their training ground with an unusual neighbor, and one soldier captures the war with paint. More of the stories that make America's Army are up next.
Hi, I'm Brigadier General Reuben Jones, the Adjutant General of the Army and the Army's Senior Voting Officer. Have you requested your absentee ballot yet? If not, see your voting assistance officer. Whether you vote in person or by absentee ballot, your vote makes a difference. Remember, wherever you are, it's not too late to vote. Be smart. Do your part.
Welcome back. There's a deadline coming up, and we're telling you now because if you miss it, you're in trouble. Our medical editor, Dr. Paul Little, has the story.
Specialist Samantha Nash is a medic at Walter Reed Army Medical Center. She's got an appointment with Dr. Joel Fishbane for her regular physical exam. Except it's not a physical exam anymore, it's a health assessment. And you get it annually instead of every 5 years. Turns out the old PE just wasn't that good at keeping soldiers healthy.
We know from actual scientific data that the patient-focused and symptom-focused exam and evaluation is much more important. Plus, then we incorporate the preventive medicine services, such as, again, the cholesterol, the pap smear, those issues.
Nash did her part by filling out a form on AKO.
I see you're allergic to peanuts.
Then Dr. Fishbane goes over all the information, including labs and risk factors like smoking or high blood pressure, something that Nash is concerned about.
My mother has high blood pressure. She currently takes blood pressure medicine, and by taking the blood pressure medication, she has a more healthier lifestyle.
Just relax.
If your doctor is concerned about anything, he then zeroes in by closely examining that part of the physical exam. Medical officials say this new way of keeping you healthy also keeps you combat ready.
The periodic health assessment is different in that it addresses readiness. The periodic physical did not address readiness at all, whereas at the time of the periodic health assessment, it will address all of your individual medical readiness, just like you would have done at an SRP.
Completing your part of the PHA is really easy. You just log on to AKO, pull up the periodic health assessment page, and fill out the electronic form. Now, the next time you see the form, it's going to be when you go into the clinic for your PHA. Your doc's going to take a look at it. If you have any risk factors or if your blood pressure is high, you're probably going to be scheduled for additional tests. Now, you've got till November 1st. Get her done.
Since the war in Iraq began more than 5 years ago, thousands of National Guardsmen have prepared for battle at Fort Indiantown Gap in Pennsylvania. It's the only live-fire maneuver training site in the Keystone State. The long, narrow valley where soldiers train is also the battleground to protect one particular species. James Williams shows us what is being done to save a rare insect.
The Regal was an orange and black butterfly, but the tail end looks like it's dipped in chocolate.
Okay, everybody saw the Regal, right? Get in your car, let's go.
We'll find some more.
My name's Cliff Tooker. I'm from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I'm a retired nature photographer. A lot of the Regal butterflies. We saw a lot of other butterflies too.
There's another swallowtail, and you can tell because he's constantly flickering his wings to stay on the flower.
Does anyone want to know what a caterpillar condo looks like?
But that's where they hide. And they hide underneath there, and then they go looking for violets. Okay, I'm out of violets. Oh, here's one. Violet, you notice where they are? They're in the patches of bare soil. Based on data we've collected, that Regal habitat needs 100 nectar plants per acre, but needs 5,000 violets per acre. Because when you're only 4 millimeters long, that 3 feet to the next violet may be too far. So we manage for lots and lots of violets.
What are the little black things?
Oh, that's caterpillar poo. We have a Regal in a net right now. Mark's going to pull it out, let everybody get a close look.
Now, if she cooperates, which is usually the issue. So this is a female. She has a row of white spots and then another row of white spots, where a male would have a row of red spots, or orange, and a row of white spots.
These butterflies don't sit around for a whole lot of time waiting for you to come up and take their picture. You really don't think of the people in the Army being that much interested in nature.
Some people make mountain tea out of it.
But if you come to a place like this and see what they're doing here and trying to protect this species of butterfly, it really is a good story.
The second largest freshwater lake in the U.S. is a source of drinking water for 6 million people along the lower East Coast. This much water is a force to reckon with. Mary Cochran reports that safety is the top priority for the Corps of Engineers.
You may not expect it, but it's cattle country in the heart of Florida.
So Okeechobee County has 5 times as many cattle as it does people. Probably 5 of the 10 largest cow-calf operations in the United States are in the state of Florida, and they're all right here pretty close.
Agriculture here is big business.
Well, I think they've got something to say about this.
Maybe they remember the hurricane havoc of the late 40s.
Well, Lake Okeechobee is massive. It's approximately 730 square miles of water. Wind can make a tremendous difference in the lake, being the fact that it is a shallow lake. It's surrounded by approximately 140 miles of levee.
Levees that protect communities around the lake.
I would say the most important part of my job is making sure that the Herbert Hoover Dike is safe and actually is protecting the public.
The Corps of Engineers conducts continual inspections and maintenance on this 70-year-old structure.
And to facilitate that inspection, we have to keep the wooded growth and the vegetation removed, and to allow us to conduct our inspections thoroughly.
In the event of a hurricane, the Corps pre-positioned materials and machines to strengthen areas eroded by hurricane-force winds.
You see any wet or ponded areas down there?
Information that protects people.
Pretty unique place to live and raise your kids.
And livelihood in Florida's cattle country. Mary Cochran, Okeechobee, Florida.
Filling in the gaps. The key to connecting all the strategies to help Afghanistan rebuild is the construction of a safe and secure roadway system. Gail McCabe has that story.
As Afghanistan continues its drive into the future, the need for roads remains a critical component. In this remote and austere land, slightly more than 2,000 kilometers of paved roads exist. Engineers like Cliff Menting with the Afghan Engineer District look to create a reliable road network throughout the land. One major challenge they face is Afghanistan's rugged weather and geography.
Some of the roads are being built at 14,000, 15,000 feet elevation. Man doesn't work very well with that low of oxygen in the air. Equipment performs extremely poor. And believe it or not, before Halloween of 2007, one of our road projects was shut down because of snow already.
Another significant obstacle is the Taliban and IEDs. On this road, a major route between Bagram and Kabul, new engineering initiatives are laying the groundwork for greater security.
The asphalt on these new roads, when it's laid, will be 6 inches thick, twice the thickness of what's here now. It's part of a counter-IED initiative.
The sub-base gets compacted, the base course gets compacted, and then you put the asphalt on top of it. When it's all constructed correctly, makes it extremely difficult for insurgents to dig it up to put an IED in.
Roads are key to military strategy in Afghanistan, recognition of the economic growth and governance they carry. For Afghans, roads are the pathway to the future. Gail McCabe, Afghanistan.
Coming up, one soldier's experience in Iraq is a picture worth 1,000 words. We'll be right back.
Hey, you want to make a difference and make new friends?
Me?
Try volunteering.
Are you into it?
Call 4-H or check out our website at areyouintoit.com.
Welcome back. Painting the war in Mosul, Iraq. With more than 30 years in the Indiana National Guard, retired Lieutenant Colonel Bill Smock could have stayed in the Guard. But he had to become a warrant officer. Chief Smock took the job and deployed to Iraq in 2005. After a year at home, he was called to duty again, this time with the battalion he once commanded. On this second tour in Iraq, the art teacher from Indianapolis is recording the war with paint. Sergeant Aaron Strader brings us Chief Smock's story.
I've had family and school teachers and friends ask me, it says, why do you want to go back to Iraq? And I said, well, the number one reason is because I can. Back to Mosul, but I like it here. So I was here in Iraq, 2005. I'm 59 years old, and probably not many people 59 years old can do this. We're lucky it's not real hot today. It's probably only maybe 95. You know, well, being a farmer or being an art teacher, that's part of the job. Getting dirty. I'm just happy to support our country and on the military and also with my art. Part of recording history with a paintbrush, as a historian does with writing, I do with a paintbrush. A painting, well, I've sold one, so but I'm more interested in my paintings for the soldiers than making any money. Sometimes they've said, how much money you make? And I said, no, I don't make any money. I lose money. I'm just happy to be here, and this is my last time, last tour, and when I go home, I'm done, and so I'm making the best of it.
That does it for this edition of Army Newswatch. Join us again next time for the stories that make America's Army.